The thing about insomnia isn't the exhaustion, it's the silence. The hours where the world forgets its own script and lets the real things slip out. That silence was the only home I ever had. By 16, sleep wasn't something I needed. It was something I avoided. Night wasn't scary to me. Daylight was. The way it lied, covered rot with morning warmth. That's why I took security work. Graveyard shifts, empty lots, places no one wanted. Mr. Fawn called me at 8:43 p.m. His voice crackled like something dry was in his throat. Triple pay, Ethan. 3 nights. Hospital downtown. He didn't ask if I wanted it. He just said, no one else will. It wasn't an offer. It was a surrender. Like he was offering me up. Like he already knew what waited there. I said yes. The hospital was wrong before I even stepped inside. It looked grown, not built. Stone bulged like muscles under skin. Windows stared like dead eyes. The air stank of iron and flowers left too long in water. The doors sighed open, not creaked, not slid, sighed, like it was disappointed. Inside, the light was wrong. Not dark, but bruised, sick yellow, like something healing wrong under skin. At the desk sat a woman who wasn't alive. Her smile was carved, not worn. Skin too smooth. Eyes like lacquered marbles. She didn't blink. Ethan, she rasped. Not a question, a memory, or a warning. Before I could respond, a man stepped from the shadowed hallway. Pale, stretched thin, uniform clinging like funeral cloth. His eyes were pits, not dead, just emptied. He didn't speak, just pointed, one finger, down the hall. I followed. The corridor flexed, like I was walking into a throat. The lights above pulsed with each step I took. Echoes came too late, footsteps that didn't match my rhythm. We reached a door, marked security. He opened it, didn't enter, just stood. Inside, screens flickered, not showing rooms, but pieces of them. Angles that bent inwards, like the building had eyes and they were blinking. On the desk, a pile of paper, crumpled, stained, written by shaking hands in 7 different inks. The man pointed again. His lips moved. No sound. Only the smell. Metal. Burned ozone. Old skin. He tapped the papers once more. Hard. Then turned and walked away. The door shut behind him like an afterthought. I was alone. With the static. With the rules. I picked up the first page. It shook, or I did. Rule 1. Be in the room when the clock strikes what it thinks is 10. Do not be in the hallway. The hallway changes after 10. It watches. Rule 6. The woman at the desk is not thirsty. Do not offer her coffee. Do not drink hers. If you do, She keeps you. Rule 3, fragment. If the screaming starts when the lights die in the bright room, find where the walls can't see. Not many such places. Don't scream back. It knows your sound. These weren't rules. They were warnings left by people who didn't leave. And the clock on the wall, that cheap plastic abomination, was already blinking 9:59. The air in the security room had teeth. It bit into my skin, slow and deliberate, as if testing the flavor of fear. The static on the monitors wasn't just random flicker. It pulsed. It breathed. Every time I glanced away, I could feel the shapes behind the screen shift. Like they didn't want to be seen. Like they didn't want to be known. The rules, if that word still had meaning, weren't rules. They were last gasps, final breaths scribbled by people who died praying their ink would outlive them. They didn't line up. They contradicted. They screamed at each other in dried blood and shaky handwriting. Don't look. Don't speak. Hide where the walls can't see. But what the hell did any of it mean? What was the bright room? Who or what heard the frequency of screaming? I wanted to laugh, but my body didn't remember how. The clock ticked. A cheap plastic war unit. Its numbers stuttered, like it was choking. 10 o'clock. The moment the first warning whispered about. And then, the hum. Low, slow, wet. Not mechanical. No gears, no electricity. Something beneath the hospital. Something with flesh. Something that had just woken up. Another rule clawed its way to memory. Walk the halls, but do not look behind you. It follows silently. So I walked. The door was heavier than it should have been, and when it closed behind me, I felt something vanish, like a lifeline snapped. The hallway stretched out, crooked than yawning. Dim lights flickered like failing synapses. The floor felt off, warped, like it was remembering other shapes. Every door I passed was sealed. Not just closed, sealed. Like tombs, and the silence wasn't empty. It watched. Each step sounded like a scream held underwater. I wanted to look back. Every nerve screamed to look back, to check. But the paper, those desperate scraps, had begged me not to, so I didn't. The stairs moaned under my weight, not creaked, moaned. The second floor hit different. The air here was thin, bitter. I could hear the walls breathe, and beneath that, voices, whispers with teeth. They said names, mine, others, all dead. Rooms lined the corridor like open mouths. Their doors cracked just enough to invite you inside, or trap you. Then I saw it. At the far end, still wrong. A patient, maybe. It didn't stand, it didn't sit. It melded into the wall like clay. One arm stretched outward, trembling. Fingers split open like blossoms. Palm up, begging, or offering. I couldn't tell. The face, no, it didn't have a face. Just the memory of one, smeared and unfinished. Another scrap of a rule tore through my head. If you see the patient, offer it something. But do not touch it. It burns. I had nothing. Phone, wallet, keys, none of them seemed real enough for this place. The crumpled rule sheet. Yes, that felt right. Sound crawled up my spine. I couldn't move. Couldn't think. Couldn't scream. I broke. Turned. Nothing. Just hallway. Empty. But the air, it twisted. Bent around something I couldn't see. The figure on the wall was different now. It was smiling. Not with lips, with bone. It pointed back the way I came. And then the shriek. Wet, joyful, and hungry. I didn't just break a rule. I fed it. And now it was coming. The shriek didn't echo. It infested, like it slithered through the air, nesting in my ears, behind my eyes, in the cracks of my skull. It wasn't a sound. It was a presence. I ran. Not back. Never back. Not toward the security room the bone-faced thing had pointed at. I sprinted deeper into the corridor, feet skidding. I couldn't see it, but I felt it. A pressure against my spine. A static scream under my skin. My name bubbling up from the shadows like it was being boiled. I lunged into a room, slammed the door. Darkness. No windows. No lights. No safety. The room was too clean. Too untouched. Like nothing living had ever been allowed inside. But it was better than the hallway. I backed into the farthest corner, breathing like I'd swallowed knives, trying to shrink, trying to disappear. And then a giggle, high, sweet, hollow, from behind the rusted gurney. I froze. The sound came again. Softer this time. Closer. I crept forward, eyes adjusting. A girl sat cross-legged on the floor. She wore a dress that belonged in a black and white photograph. Torn lace. Pale pink, stained darker around the edges. But she was watching me. I didn't breathe. Not because I was scared. Because I didn't want to break the scene. Like she was a doll in a haunted museum that only moved when you weren't watching. My brain scrambled. A rule. There had been a rule about the girl and the bear. If you see the girl in the cafeteria holding a teddy bear, sit beside her. Do not speak first. If she looks at you, return to the security room. If she speaks, respond until she leaves. But this wasn't the cafeteria, and she wasn't speaking. She lifted her head, eyes like polished obsidian, no whites, just bottomless dark. She smiled, and the bear twitched. Not a toy twitch, a muscle twitch. The button eye rolled in its socket. Its stitched mouth moved. "I think," she said, voice syrupy and jagged at once. "You broke a lot of rules, mister." My skin pulled tight. My teeth felt too big. My bladder almost gave out. "But it's okay," she whispered. "We can make new ones. Together." The bear opened its mouth and growled. I bolted. Didn't think, didn't reason, just ran. The hallway welcomed me back like a trap snapping shut. Behind me, her voice rose in a sing-song lullaby. 1, 2, 3. I ran like a man on fire. She counted like someone wrapping ribbon around a gift. 4, 5. I'll find you, Ethan, and I'll never let go. The hallway bent. Not physically, but perceptually. Like reality itself didn't want to hold its shape anymore. The lights overhead flickered in rhythm with her voice. Each number a countdown to something. Each step I took felt like wading deeper into a sea of teeth. The girl's voice trailed after me. Sweet, steady, final. 6, 7. I turned a corner blindly. Lungs scalding. Eyes stinging. Doors lined both sides of the corridor. Some slightly ajar. Others nailed shut with strips of rusted metal. Each rule had been clear. If she looks at you, return to the security room. But that wasn't an option anymore. The halls had changed, warped, like a maze rearranging to trap its prey. 10, 11. I dove into a supply closet, slammed the door, pressed my body against it until my bones screamed. Silence. 12. I waited for her breath at the crack, her nails beneath the door, her voice inches from my soul. Instead, a giggle. Right behind me. I spun. Empty. Except, no. The bear sitting on the shelf. Alone. Staring. Its one eye shimmered. Its stitched grin was wider now. Hungrier. I didn't scream. I bit down on it. Swallowed it. Shoved it down my throat, like it might choke me if I let it out. The hallway. A figure stood in the hallway. 7 feet tall. Shoulders hunched under a blood-stained lab coat. Flesh sagging in unnatural ways. And in his hand, a saw. Curved, purring, alive. The overseer. The original rule echoed in my skull. Do not speak to the overseer unless spoken to. He carries the saw. Hide. I didn't move, didn't breathe, became furniture, became dust. He moved past the door. Heavy steps, measured, listening, dragging the saw against the walls as he walked, singing a lullaby, the same one she'd counted with. 1, 2, 3. And then silence. A click, not of a door, of teeth. I waited until waiting became pain. Until the silence threatened to drive me madder than the noise. Then a knock. Not hard, gentle, patient, too patient. Ethan, it's your turn. My legs betrayed me. I fell, crawled backwards into the darkness of the closet. The bear was gone. The wall behind me was You don't want to keep him waiting. And then the lights outside died, one by one, until the only thing that existed was the door and the thing behind it. The dark wasn't just absence. It was alive, thick as oil, heavy as breath. It pressed through the cracks in the closet door, like fingers searching for skin. I curled against the far wall, knees to chest, heartbeat loud enough to shake the dust. The knocking had stopped, but something was still there. Watching, I could feel it. That weightless pressure of eyes that didn't blink, didn't need to. Then I heard it, scraping. Not claws, not shoes, bone, dragging bone. The overseer hadn't left. No, he was circling, looking for weakness. From the corner of the closet, a whisper rose. Not from outside, from behind me. A voice that tasted like copper and rot. Did you read all the rules? I turned slowly. There was no wall anymore, just space. A hallway that shouldn't exist, lit by nothing, and in that void, figures, pale, emaciated, some crawling, some hanging upside down, all whispering. All the rules. All the rules. You forgot the last one. One stepped forward. Its face was mine. But wrong. Eyes stitched shut. Mouth split too wide. It handed me something. Paper. Yellowed, wrinkled, wet at the corners. A new rule. No ink. Just carved into the surface. Like someone wrote it with a tooth. Rule 13. If you survive the first night, do not leave. If you leave, he follows. If he follows, he learns. If he learns your life, he rewrites it. Suddenly, the overseer, so close now, I could smell him. Rust, alcohol, scorched teeth. His voice seeped through the closet like ink. You played so well, Ethan. Now, let me play with you. The door creaked open, not from the outside, from inside the closet. The hinges twisted backward. The space behind me shifted, stretched, invited. I didn't stand. I didn't run. I fell. Backwards, into the hallway that wasn't. Into the scream that had waited since the hospital was born. Into the rule I had never read. I didn't fall. I descended. like the world had peeled open just for me, and gravity itself bowed to whatever was waiting beneath. No walls, no floor, just the feeling of going down, like a thought sliding deeper into madness. Then, light, pale, sickly, like something trying to remember the sun. I landed on tile, smooth, wet, the bright room. The walls pulsed like lungs, and in the center, a chair, not metaphor, not illusion. Me. Same clothes, same wounds, but the eyes, dead. Content. Around the room stood others. The girl with the bear, the overseer, saw humming softly, the stitched receptionist from night one, and behind them, more. Dozens, hundreds, faceless shadows, all whispering one word, over and over. Ethan. I stepped forward. The other me didn't move. He smiled. A smile that split too wide. Teeth wrong. Tongue twitching like it remembered something I didn't. You made it, he said. His voice wasn't mine. It was a chorus of every scream the hospital had ever swallowed, of every name it had ever known. You followed the rules, he said. Enough of them. The girl giggled. The receptionist's smile widened. From above, bells began to chime. Midnight? No. Shift change. The chair at the center creaked. The other me stood, bones clicking into place like keys turning locks. He walked toward me, slow, reverent. You get to leave now, he whispered, but you don't get to forget. He pressed something into my hand. A new list, fresh, clean, typed in perfect black ink. Rules. Rules for someone else. You're the witness now, he said. The recruiter. And then I was outside. Hospital behind me. Street real. Air real. My car waiting. Engine cold. I drove. Eyes wide. Heart quiet. In the glove box, the paper still waits. Still warm. And at night, when I hear a whisper under the floorboards, or a voice in the static, I know it's almost time for the next shift, for the next Ethan, because the hospital never stops. It only recruits. And the rules, they're just the beginning.